Tonight, we revisit with our friends from the Chuck Elliot Band. It's a return. It's the Chuckening.
Hello.
What's up? Maybe that's a little strong. Maybe it's not going to be that hardcore, but I've got members of the Chuck Elliot Band. See who you are and what you do in the band.
I'm Freddie. I play the drums.
I'm JP. I play the bass.
And I'm Chuck, and I just kind of stand around.
I was going to say, you just get credit for having the name of the band. You just kind of stand around and they use your name.
Exactly.
No, that's not how that works. You actually do the singing in the band.
Singing and guitar playing.
And songwriting. Of course, you all kind of contribute to that. That is a group effort, and we're going to talk about that group effort. Last time I think we spoke with you, you were working on some singles, and you just kind of had that as a band, and you were kind of shaping towards an album now.
That's correct. We have our CD
together.
ready, and through some personnel change and meeting these guys, and really meeting of the minds, too. We got it ready.
So you've still got to pare down, though, because I think you said you had like 20 songs?
Well, we had almost 30, 27 songs, I think. And we've had to cut it down to 20. We may still have to take a couple off there. Everybody's saying that's too much, but hey, we figure, every song is a solid song. So if people like it, they like it, and they get more for their money, well, great.
Plus, I have the simple solution. Double album. Come on. How is that not classic? Yeah, I think the last time you were around, we didn't have JP with us, so welcome to this.
Some guys quit the band, and some guys came in the band. We still have pickup musicians, but then Freddie was his idea to get JP. Aliens had just dropped him right there in Pickett County, so we picked him up.
It's not as horrible as they told you it would be, and over the next 2 hours, we're going to make it more interesting as we talk about the road that you've traveled to get here, the music that you have put together for this album, and what's up next for the Chuck Elliot Band as we talk with them tonight on the 9 o'clock News Local Edition here on Rock 93.7. Having an impromptu meeting tonight of the Rum Drinkers Association. Well, no, that's just when they're at practice. We have the Chuck Elliot Band in with us. You guys get together every now and again, and you practice. You do different things. Tonight, we're talking about your efforts of making your first album. Here on the 9 o'clock News Local Edition on Rock 93.7. Chuck, you've been making music for...
Since before both of these guys were born, most likely.
How long would you say your career is overall?
I started playing and wrote my first song when I was 16. Since then, I've been on and off. I'd say spanned 30 years.
Kind of traveled around a bit. You've done the solo thing. You've done the join the band thing. Now you've got the formed my own band thing going.
Absolutely. And I found these guys, Freddie first. And we worked for a while, and we needed some personnel change.
Life happens when you're trying to make music as a band, when you're just getting started out, you just get things going. I think personnel, for local bands, personnel changes, as you called it.
Yeah, after a while, people get worn out, or they realize that the dream and the reality are different. And man, they realize, wow, this is a lot of work. It's a lot of sculpting. It takes a lot of time to make a song, to knock the edges off. I thought it was just rock and roll, baby.
Well, I think you've got society has kind of glamorized it with things like American Idol and The Voice. And, hey, if you just show up and you sing, you're going to end up with a great music career and everything's going to be, I think we've learned over the last couple of years from the local bands that we've talked to, including yourself, that it is a lot of hard work. It's not just show up and sing and make the music. It's find a way to get it shared.
Exactly.
Absolutely, yeah.
You guys have done the playing around to do that. You've hit a few venues.
Pretty much have a standing gig at the Spot in Gainesboro, there on the square. Play all the time at Seven Senses here in Cookeville in the old part of town. So yeah, we have pretty much
Spanky's, Crawdaddies.
Mm-hmm.
We did the Bull and Thistle one time and got booted.
Things happen.
We were just a little too wild for the Bull and Thistle.
You guys have hit the local venues around here, and you do travel out of town, too. You don't just stay local. You go out and do some shows. And you've actually been, last time I talked to you, you were pursuing, I was kind of talking about one of those shows, but I think you were pursuing something along those lines. So we'll talk about that a little bit later on in the show, and we'll get to some of your music. In fact, let's get to one of your songs now. This album that you have put together, it's your first full album with this band. Let's talk about one of your singles. Let's go with the Feel Good Happy song, because it feels good and it's happy.
There you go.
Is that where it comes from?
We're a happy band. We want people to be happy and enjoy themselves. So that's really what this song's about. Pretty simple.
There's not going to be any emo performances from you anytime soon. Is that what I'm hearing?
You never know.
I am picturing you in an emo outfit, and that is just wrong.
That's just not going to happen.
JP shaking his head.
Yeah, my vote is no on that one.
Yeah, they all voted no. So I'm going to guess that whole George Clinton diaper thing that we talked about, still not coming into play.
Not so much.
Yeah, maybe the nails or something. We'll do the nails.
You do have the feel good, happy feeling in not just this song, but most of your music. So you kind of approach that attitude, putting this song together with that idea. How did the melodies come about?
This particular song, actually, I was working at the Welcome Center there on Highway 40. A guy's like, man, the world's just not happy enough. So I said, well, I'm just going to write a song, the feel-good, happy song. Particular, I mean, we worked out the melodies to it, and the band got together when we cut it and all. And again, we like people, when they come out on Friday night, we don't want them to go home worse than when they came out. The life beats you down when you have to work for a living. So we want people on Friday night to come out and hear us and go back, man, that was a great band. We had a great time. Let's do it again.
Perfectly fitting then. It's the Feel Good Happy Song. It's the Chuck Elliott Band of the 9 o'clock news local edition on Rock 93.7. Tonight, we're catching up with the Chuck Elliott Band. Last time that we spoke with them, they were working on their music. They've had a few lineup changes since then, and, well, we'll have to find out how it went. It's the 9 o'clock news local edition here on Rock 93.7. When I say find out what it went, I mean your journey towards The Voice, Chuck. You were trying out for that.
Yes, I got an invitation to go up to New York, and it was 2,800 people at the audition. I'd never seen that many great singers in one spot, so I felt thrilled to be there. You stand up on a chalk line, you get 30 seconds to sing your heart out. You got to sing a cover tune, so I picked Al Green, Let's Stay Together. There was 70 of us in a room, and he called me back, which was really nice. I got a call back. I thought I made it. And all the goofy people, how they act on the show, and I'm like, come on, man. I did the same thing when he called my name. I was like, oh. And everybody there was happy, but he basically, the producer from LA, he said, you did a good job, or do you sing professionally? And I told him, no, I do demos in Nashville, and I've got a band. He said, keep working hard. He said, you're not what we're looking for. I was like, what are you looking for? Maybe I can be that guy. And he said, well, we can't tell you. So
you didn't make the cut on what we needed, but we're not going to tell you what we need to make the cut.
That's exactly what he said. He said, we have our thing we're looking for, and you're not it, but I wanted to tell you did a good job.
What did you take away from that whole experience?
Oh, I was happy, man. I didn't even think, when I saw that many good people, and I know where I am vocally, I've been singing for 30 years. I was so humbled by the fact that he even called me back. I was like, wow. I said, thank you for doing that. I gave him a hug. And, so I wasn't really expecting a whole lot. And I didn't really even want to be on the show more than just one episode, because it's a real rigorous thing they have you do in California, and weeks worth of filming. And so I didn't want to be away from my family. Kind
of get a little bit of notoriety off of it, but still, you got the experience of getting in there. 30 seconds. How do you...
Less than 30 seconds, probably about more like 20. Basically, they brought us in a room. There's like 70 or 80 of us. And he said, this is what you do. When you get up there, we know who you are. We'll call your name, hit the chalk line, do your thing until we tell you to stop.
So you didn't have a chance to rehearse your song ahead of time. You didn't know for sure. So how did you go with Al Green?
Oh, I love Al Green. I mean, I could sing him in my sleep, man. Al Green's my favorite vocalist. So I hit it. I got the whole thing. Let's all stay together. It had it all. And I felt strong, and it was
pretty much a huge cattle call. You either make the cut or you don't.
But the fact that I got called back was so exciting for me, and it was so encouraging, because I didn't think I would get called back. I mean, it was in that group there was at least 10 people I thought were better vocalists than me, which isn't real hard to do. I rehearsed, and my voice was strong, and I was ready, so I did what I did, and it was fun.
So you had that opportunity. You went and followed that. It didn't quite go the way you maybe hoped, but
it actually went better than I'd hoped.
Well, then
I guess, to be quite honest with you,
I guess that's the great thing to take away from that. But that experience you brought back to your band. He told you to go back and keep working on what you're doing.
Oh, he said, and actually he gave me his number and said, if you're ever in LA, man, look me up. We'll do some tracks. So that was really cool. So I took away from that. Again, it was much more than I thought. And I stepped out of the room, and everybody grabbed me and were going to throw me on their shoulders. I was like, no. It's, I didn't get picked. So they were like, oh, man. So it was very supportive. The whole group, it was a very supportive thing. It was all like we were a big team, hoping somebody would move on. And actually, no one from that audition got picked. 2,800 people. We found out later, no one was picked from that group.
But you at least earned the call back, so that says something. And then you brought it back to the band, and you guys have taken the passion that you had when you went to that and used it towards making this album. So we're going to talk some more about the album that you've worked up. Where do you go from here next as we continue with the Chuck Elliott Band tonight on the 9 o'clock news local edition here on Rock 93.7. Tonight, we're talking with the Chuck Elliott Band here on Rock 93.7's 9 o'clock news local edition. I have in studio
Freddie Sherrill, and I play drums.
JP Barnett, and I play the bass.
Chuck Elliott, again, I just stand around.
Stand around and sing. But
and
do
play
it with
guitar.
style.
Oh, baby.
Okay, well, you do it in style whenever you go to perform. You're about the show. When you guys go out somewhere, you want everyone to have a good time. You want them to enjoy themselves, but you want to make sure that they got their nickel's worth or dime, however much they spend.
If you come to one of our shows, you're not going to stand around. We're going to force you to get involved. We're going to force you to sing with us, and we make the audience our backup singers all the time, so it's a lot of fun.
By force, of course, you mean the whole infectiousness of the performance itself. They don't actually have batons. Don't worry. If you go to their show, that's not going to happen. But it does kind of carry through. The emotion of the song it kind of gets to you. I know last time that you were here, we talked about one of your other songs, Start Today, really upbeat thing. And it is one of those songs that kind of sticks with you. And that's the way you write things. You don't just look at it as, we just need to write another song so we have something put on here. You look at it as, we want to get something out of this.
Actually, we have a CD, and we narrowed it down to 20 songs. We had about 28 songs ready, but we just have to cut it down for the length of the CD. I mean, we just got so much material between the three of us.
JP being the newest member of the band, how has this experience been for you?
It's been absolutely amazing. When Freddie got a hold of me and asked me to come play with the band, I was actually in the process of getting rid of my musical equipment because I've always wanted to play in a band, but it just never really took off anywhere.
The whole songwriting experience, they've been at it for a little while. How has it worked out for you being a part of that?
Again, it's fantastic. It's really a surreal thing to be actually involved with the songwriting because I actually found I really enjoyed the songwriting process and actually collaborating with Chuck and Freddie.
You play bass?
Yes.
So whenever you're putting together your part, the bass lines, do you start with what you're doing or do you look at what they've done and figure out how to complement it?
A little bit of both. And, sometimes I'll have an idea as far as bass lines or lyrics or bass lines or whatever the case may be. And I ask Chuck, because Chuck was actually the bass player before. And so he's been like my musical sensei, I guess you could say, and actually has taught me a whole lot.
I was going to say mentor, but I think it's probably more tour mentor, the way you guys all work together. Freddie, you've been with him the longest, I think.
Yeah, right at a year ago whenever we did the show the first time, and I think I'd been with him like 6 or 8 months at that time. So yeah, a year and a half, 2 years.
All that time in together writing songs, has it gotten easier as far as picking out your style together?
I think definitely. Chuck is one of those type of guys who, if you come to him with an idea, he takes it and runs with it. He isn't one of those guys who, no, let's do something that I've wrote before, or let's do something that I've done. He definitely is very understanding. He loves it whenever we contribute to the songwriting process.
In fact, one of your ideas he took a little extra distance with, Make You Feel That Way.
Yeah, actually, this is a song that I wrote for my wife and actually played for her at our wedding. Of course, I had just written it on an acoustic guitar. I'm a rock and roll player, so, it kind of had that influence. But as soon as Chuck heard it the first time, he said, I really think this would be awesome in like a 50s doo-wop kind of style. That's kind of what we went through in the studio. I tell you, I love the way that it turned out. He did an awesome job kind of perfecting it and putting his Chuck on it. And I really love the way it turned out.
Do they go with that when you
Great song this will be.
Do they go with that when you're making, here, Chuck this?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's, they're great writers. They're loads of talent. So, and I've gotten to where having a studio at my house, it gives me an advantage to work every night or every chance I get, so I'm able to craft it more than they have time for. So they allow me and afford me that to do. So I appreciate that.
Make You Feel That Way. It's the Chuck Elliott Band on the 9 o'clock news local edition on Rock 93.7. Tonight, we've caught up with the Chuck Elliott Band here on Rock 93.7's 9 o'clock news local edition. You guys have finished up your first full album. A little bit of a lineup change. We've had who else is in the band with you?
Well, this is the core members of the band. We pick up people as we need them. We're looking for a really good guitar player.
How often do you have to pull in other musicians?
We do shows with the three of us. As a matter of fact, a lot of stuff on Facebook with just the three of us. And depending on how big the show gets, I think that we're talking about opening for Jamie Daly. We'll probably pull in somebody really good, a buddy from Nashville, Mike Durham. He's a session player there. We grew up together and played, so we'll probably pull him in for that.
The music that you have putting together is basically, as you said, the core, and that is on the album. When is that going to be available?
That'll be ready around the first week in May. Poke Salad Festival, we've been in the studio for about 4 months now. We haven't played out. We've been working like dogs in the studio. Around Poke Salad time, that's first week in May, it'll be ready, and we're going to start playing out in support of that.
Is it going to be a digital release, hard copy? How's it coming out?
Mainly hard copy. We're going to do the traditional thing and, let people buy our record at our shows. We do have a Reverb Nation page and obviously, like Chuck said, a Facebook page, which we do, leak some of the songs on those periodically. So y'all are welcome to check that out too.
Well, you will have it available, and you'll have links to how they can get it, all that stuff. You're through Facebook. So check you out there, and your next performances are also up on there. So thank you guys for coming in to talk with us.
Thank you as always.
Yeah, appreciate it.
It's the Chuck Elliott Band tonight on the 9 o'clock news local edition here on Rock 93.7.